All right. So what if longevity wasn't about adding more years to your life, but adding more life to your years? Today's guest believes flourishing is possible at every age, and she is here to show us how. Welcome to the Life Lounge podcast. This is your front row seat to everything happening inside Life Network. I am your host, Karie Johnson, and each week we bring you top voices, transformational brands, and insider updates that you don't want to miss. This is where self-transformation meets community, because when we grow together, we go farther. So let's dive in. Today's guest is Dr. Melissa Grill-Peterson, and she is the founder of the Human Longevity Institute and co-founder and CEO of Peptide University. She's a TEDx speaker, consultant, and best-selling author who is advancing health and human flourishing around the globe. She's on a mission to help people move beyond survival into true vitality. And today she's going to help us redefine what's possible for women in midlife and beyond. Welcome to the Life Lounge podcast, Melissa. Dr. Melissa.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's a joy.
Oh my gosh. Well, we are grateful to have you. I know you were on Ben's podcast recently, and, Ben is very good about, bringing these big ideas, and, he's, like I say, the walking encyclopedia, but I love to kind of bring it down more like practical for the everyday mom. So before we kind of get into, peptides and all their amazing magic, can you kind of talk to me about like what drew you into longevity and human flourishing?
Oh, that's a great question. I think it's just been a part of my DNA since I was born, but instead of going all the way back to being really young, I would say, because literally I was dancing by the time I was 2. I was in the gym working out when I was in 6th grade. And I'm at this time chronologically 54. So this was coming up in the 80s when gyms were really just becoming a thing. So you didn't see 6 in working out, right?
No, you didn't.
Didn't. And by the time I was in my teens and early 20s, I was a personal trainer and a fitness instructor and running programs. And I've just always been, I grew up, we didn't have a ton of money. And so the good side of that is I was organic before organic was a thing. We hunted in the winters. We ate what came from the garden. And of course, I hated that as a kid. I thought that was like, I'm poor and I don't want this stuff. And now I'm like, well, I'm really blessed that I have a great microbiome because of how I was raised. So interesting. And so it just, life really kind of informed it, but it was so a part of who I was. And I loved moving. I just loved energy. I loved vitality. Fate twisted me in a strange way that led me to get a doctorate in chiropractic, which I didn't go look for. It came to me. I landed on television because I danced my whole life. And so now I'm finishing chiropractic and I'm out on the #1 rated show in television in the late 90s and early 2000s.
So cool.
But here's what's super fascinating is when that stopped. So now I've got a practice, I'm seeing patients, I'm on the road a couple days a week, I'm in clinical practice, and I kind of had this existential crisis at a really young age. I'm like in my late 20s, early 30s and going, wait, this isn't what they taught me in school. There's more to it. Like health it's not just a pill. It's not just a treatment. I see patients coming in week after week with the same things. I'm like, what's behind it all? What's driving it all? And so, I continue to pull back my own layers. I think we're all N of ones, right? Especially at this day and age, and anybody that listens to your podcast or Ben's. And I just kept going deeper. Then it was functional medicine. I got deep into epigenetics and genomics, and it just kept going and going and going and going. But here's the really interesting thing is that from a longevity standpoint, and this is a really interesting year for me because, as I said, I'm chronologically 54 now. Yeah. And my mom transitioned at 54. Okay. So she, and it's really, it was such a massive moment of watching my mom when she got that diagnosis of cancer and then, did all these things. And literally she went into full remission. It's like when she did the lifestyle and she really brought down the stress. She went deep into self-healing. Everything corrected. And then she went back into everything, the same schedules, the same demands. And back.
Oh, and gosh.
So what happened within that was a moment where I was like, is her fate my fate? Her destiny my destiny? I'm like, no. I know better. Like, I know the science. I know all of this, but it seeps in. And it's not like I sat there in that moment and said, I'm going to defy aging. It wasn't that. It just kind of became this deep questioning of, and I was only getting ready to become a mother myself. And so a
Wow.
really, really powerful time. And I mean, it's now been 19 years since that. And so I'd say over the past 19 years, I really went deeper and deeper into this journey of what is aliveness. It isn't just about more life to our years. Or years to our life, but rather life to our
Life
years.
years.
And understanding what moves the needle, what really drives it all. It's here. It's the 6 inches of real estate.
So true.
It truly is. And so then I did a lot of things with that. So that's a lot to kind of a long answer to your question. But I mean, it's really personal, paired with already my professional path that just said, there's more here. And until we're willing to ask and get curious, we're going to just accept and tolerate what's already been presented to us. And that's not the truth. Like there's just so much more here.
Okay. That's super powerful. So then, because we are led to believe, so many things about beauty and longevity and lifespan. And so what do you think is the biggest myth about aging that women should unlearn? It's kind of a big question.
It's the fact that it's just aging. Anytime you hear somebody tell you, well, you're just getting older, like that is absolute utter nonsense. Now, are we moving through space-time chronologically? Yes. Are there candles on the birthday cake? Yes. But does that have to equate to breakdown, dysfunction, and disease? No, absolutely not. And so I think it's truly a matter of what do we let in, and it's okay. It's not like I'm not going to accept this. It's just going, well, is that true for me? Like I had to really get honest with myself and go, could the same thing happen to me that happened to my mom? Well, it could, but am I letting that in? Am I going to let that become part of my DNA, become part of my belief system, become part of how I show up for life every day?
Yeah.
Same thing that happens in conversations with our friends, the same things we look at on social media, the same thing that happens when we go into a coach or a doctor's office. Yeah. What are they telling us, and what are we choosing to accept as part of our own truth and inner makeup?
That's powerful. Just because like what we believe and accept, that's what will shift and change everything. So like I said, I'm in my mid-40s chronologically as well. And a lot of people my age, as you're exhausted and tired and kids and jobs and, the mental load is a lot, right? That we can typically take on every single day. So to that person who is like, well, like, what am I supposed to do? This is just the way it is. Or like, what do you typically say to those people? Like if there's a better way? Yeah.
I have so much love for every single one of us, women and men, but as a mama, as a woman, so when I was in my 40s, where you're at, and I remember I was in my early 40s, and this is exactly what I'll say. I was at the pinnacle of that very scenario that you just said, and had a practice where my practice was. I lived in Atlanta at the time, and traffic around Atlanta is its own thing.
Yes, it is.
And
yes,
rush hour traffic is a really bad thing. Whew. And having a brick and mortar where you're seeing patients for 10 hours a day, you have to get there early. Like I would be gone almost 14 hours a day, and 2 hours each way was traffic, oftentimes because of rush hour. And I was losing, and I'm not able. My son was at the yummiest stage then, when they're like 2, 3, and you're just like, oh my God, everything is beautiful. And I'm just like missing it, right? And fighting with the not enough hours, not enough time. I'm doing all of this because of my family and who I love. But literally, I was walking away going, my front desk is making more money than I am after I pay all the bills. I calculate the hours, write all the checks. Like something's got to give. And so I'd sit in the car, and this is what I would say, exactly what you said. I would sit in the car, and I was so stressed, and I was so, I was afraid nerve, and like going, just like praying every day, right? Like, gotta hold this together. And then it really became like, okay, wait a minute. I can't, and we all have heard the saying, it's like, it's how we choose to respond. And so I had to just start going, okay, is there just one thing, just one tiny thing, instead of all the things that I can't do, or all the things that feel overloading or are out of my budget? Is there one thing that I can begin to focus on that just I'm appreciative of, I'm grateful for, or that just truly lights me up? And while we all hear about the power of gratitude, and it can easily get dismissed, what I found, Karie, when I just said, okay, what's the thing that without question, like I couldn't even control it or diminish it if I tried, that lights me up. There was two answers: my son and animals, my son and
Oh,
puppies. Like I'm a
oh,
huge dog lover, right?
I love it. Me too.
And I just had this moment, this memory when my son was 9 months old, and
Mm.
he saw something on the TV that just, it was the first time he just looked and his eyes just did this wonder and awe
Yeah.
filled his face. And that is what saved me. I'm telling you. It's like I would, whenever I felt like I can't do it and I'm
Yeah.
overloaded, and yeah, these are nice words, I just thought that, I saw that image, and my
Mm.
whole system would just smile and go into ease, and I could
Mm.
just get ahead of it for a moment. I could create, I call it, it's like literally tapping on the brakes, because we're
Mm-hmm.
in so much sympathetic dominance, especially in our 40s, because of all the overload. And even if it's good stress, even if it's youth stress, there's still a lot. And so it's like we have to find these micro moments where we can just tap that brake, find a moment of awe, of wonder, of ease, where we
Mm-hmm.
go into that rest and digest and connect within ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And those little micro moments can add up and
Mm-hmm.
shift that momentum to bring our system back into just greater resilience and balance, that then we can go, okay, now I can think logically again. And now I can
Right.
actually see the answer or find the answer or give the answer a moment to come to me, instead of me
That's the
thinking
thing.
I got to control it all.
Reactionary, because we're in that
Yeah.
fight or flight stage, because we have that, it's a very emotional high that we're in. That's incredible advice. And it does, like you said, it does seem like could be something so simplistic. They're like that we would just dismiss it, but it is just something that it's easy and it's powerful, and it can help shift everything. And then you maybe just start to think a little bit more logically to maybe what can you let go of, and like kind of shift what your life trajectory is looking like, because obviously maybe something needs to change in that chaos
Yeah.
of craziness, but you just are so burnt out and you can't really see through a clear path. So,
True. It's true.
oh,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's incredible words of wisdom. And I definitely can to the power of gratitude. So then for somebody who is like, okay, then I'm hearing all of these things on social media all the time, everything, like hormones, longevity, energy, weight loss, and then, peptides are the hot topic. So can you demystify that a little bit for us, since you lead Peptide University? Simple
Yes.
terms, just what are peptides?
Okay, very, very simple. Peptides are just short chains of amino acids bonded together in different lengths, so anywhere from 2 to 50 units together. Easiest way to think about these little amino acids, they're just each a piece of code. The way they bond together is information. So this information goes and sits on top of a cell, and it emits a signal. And so the analogy I give, it's just a lock and a key. So it's a very specific lock that's going to turn a certain, open a certain door, so to speak, and produce a certain type of signal or several types of signals that will act in different pathways or areas or systems of the body.
Okay, that's a good analogy. Perfect. I love it. Super simple to grasp then. So then what about for women specifically, 40s, 50s? How can peptides support energy, hormones, recovery, some of those big things that we are up against?
Okay, so ladies, I know we always love the thing, and we are taught, especially when we scroll, we're always, so first of all, you're going to always think that there is going to be the magic bullet and the thing that's going to solve the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is, it does begin here, and we are a dynamic system. We are a living, breathing, innate, intelligent expression of the divine.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I just want to tell people, and I will go in, we will talk all things peptides, but here's what I'm going to say. A lot of people want the peptide, but you don't
Yes.
necessarily need the peptide, and
Mm.
or you don't need it yet. So
Okay.
we are teaching our clinicians all the time about, we really do always have to look at foundational health. So basic principles first, and really and truly the exact scenario that you just talked about of what we really feel at the pinnacle in our 40s, and the stressors and the overloads and the demands, and how do I kind of wear the hats and do all the things.
Mm-hmm.
As women, our stress, and stress is not bad. Stress is a
Right.
demand on the system, right? But if we don't understand how many demands we're putting into our system, and do we have enough gas in the tank, so to speak, to keep up with those demands, which typically we don't. We're typically doing the fasting, we're doing all the gimmicks, we're doing all the latest hype. We're not maintaining foundational principles of, wait, what does this body actually need just to survive, let alone thrive? So often, before we can even begin with peptides, we have to kind of go back to foundational cellular health, basic cellular efficiency. And I mean, and Ben and I talked about this, like, we cannot dismiss, we have to get our right macronutrients, our right micronutrients, our right phospholipids. Like, we need these essential mechanisms that go into the cell to make sure we got that. So assuming that we've got foundational nutrients, then assuming that we are really, really practicing forms of self-love, self-care, and understand and really promoting resilience within ourselves instead of always being afraid, nerve, and so stressed out, because that cortisol in women will absolutely drive hormonal imbalance. It will drive the fatigue. It will drive the anxiety. It will drive the adipose tissue and the weight and the numbers on the scale. It'll break down the gut permeability. It'll add to the autoimmunity risks. Like, it will do all the things. It really will.
Yeah.
It's not bad, but it also can become. And so if I'm going to say anything, and again, there's a whole category. So there's a lot of peptides that can help us, but I would say food and lifestyle first, stress resilience, and great sleep first, right? Like, simple things first. Don't dismiss those.
Yes.
And then we always are going to say, for what reason? Like, what's the outcome? What's the thing? And what I teach our practitioners all the time is we always want to think upstream, because this is real common sense. The outer world is always informing and influencing the inner world. So the quality of what we bring in is going to determine the again, garbage in, garbage out, quality in, quality out. Like, what are we taking in? How much of it? How often? And I don't just mean food. And I don't even just mean blue light or stress. I'm just saying what's coming in, because this is going to determine, do I need one peptide, 5 peptides? Do I need no peptides, right? Do I need some vitamins and some adaptogens? Do I need a bioregulator? Like, so for what reason? And maybe what we can do, to put some meat on the bones for your listeners, is we can talk about a few specific things. We'll do that in a minute here. Because I know that they're like, okay, don't just talk generalities, but I want to help and caution people, like, please don't think it's just the peptide. And there are also some crazy, awesome peptides. The last thing I really want to say before we get into specifics, that I don't think enough people really understand, and even clinicians don't understand this. Peptides they're naturally occurring within the body. They are cell signaling molecules. They are not, and they're not a switch that you're going to just turn on and keep on all the time. So peptides are things that cycle, they pulse. And so it is really interesting to learn about them and realize we could sit here today and now for the rest of this interview, talk about 6, 8, 12 awesome molecules. Ladies, even gentlemen, doesn't mean you're going to do them all at once. And it doesn't mean you're going to do them all the time. So with that caveat, wherever you want to go, Katie, with some specificity, I'm happy to go deeper.
No. That's super helpful. I definitely appreciate just kind of like first and foremost, like what they are, because they do seem, they're just like a hot topic, and you see it all the time when you're scrolling, and there's so many out there, and it can be very, very confusing. So yes. So specifically then, like for, someone like me, 45, mom, kids, I work out, like do you get blood work done to kind of see what you're lacking, or you just go off of symptoms? Like, what do you usually look at somebody, like how they're working out? But like you said, first, they do need to have those building blocks in first. Sleep, working out.
So great question. Okay. So yes, any great clinician, and for all of our, again, biohackers out there that are just kind of self optimizing, we have to know our metrics. So first of all, where are we at? Where do we want to be? Right? Like, so how are we presenting? As a clinician, I'm thinking, how does my patient come to me? What symptoms? Is there any pre-existing conditions? If so, how long? How severe? Are you on anything? Are you on medications? Are you on supplements? Are you on hormones? So we do have to get a sense of what are we starting with? Because those are all inputs, right? And they can either help us or they can work against us. So there's, kind of a basic intake of lifestyle, health history, social history, stress levels. Great. The next thing we're going to look at is, yes, there's just some foundational biomarkers and blood markers that will really tell us a lot about the system. And so especially if you're that 45-year-old that is fatigued, that's, really like trying to do it all, trying to keep enough gas in the tank, but feeling like you're sliding behind a little bit, sleep's off, weight is kind of creeping up, feeling a little irritable, cycles are maybe off a little sometimes, maybe a little bit more, premenstrual kind of syndrome than you'd like to. In that case, really, we just need some foundational lab work that's going to tell us a lot. Like we can look at a comprehensive metabolic panel. We can look at a CMP, a CBC, and A1C. Okay. Very, very simple stuff. We don't have to do full hormone profiles yet unless we really suspect hormonal imbalance. So if we and C-reactive protein, we want a couple of inflammatory markers. So we can just start with a couple of basic things. It's not going to hurt us if we can get into, and I'm assuming we've already got an understanding of micronutrients and things like that. Yeah. So a CMP is going to tell us a lot about our metabolics. And as women, we need to know what is happening with our glucose, what is happening, how is our liver processing? Because anytime we're about to take in, whether it's a supplement or a peptide, our liver has to handle all this stuff. True. And then our kidneys. So what's our liver? What are our liver markers? What are our kidney markers looking like? Again, what's our inflammatory markers? What are our immune markers looking like? We can absolutely add in cortisol. We can absolutely add in insulin. Okay, so we can add those two on. And that's going to tell us a lot as a woman about what am I starting with? And oftentimes in this scenario, more often than not, we are seeing glucose elevated, A1C elevated, and we might just be pre-diabetic, right? We're not fully we're just seeing things rise a little bit. And I'll tell you, some women that are doing a lot of intermittent fasting, they are working out a lot, they're doing all the right things. Even I think Ben and I might have even chatted about this a little bit. Their glucose is elevated, and then it's like, and my A1C is up, but I thought I'm doing all the right things. But it's because the things they're doing are still being perceived by the body as a stressor, and they don't have enough gas in the tank to keep up with. So the only way we can handle these events, again, we need more gas. That's glucose. The only way to get that glucose is to use that cortisol. And so we can continue to drive metabolic dysfunction in our system, even when we think we're doing healthy things. So sometimes as women, we do want to do less than more. We want to really do. We want to go with soft arts. We want to go with a lot of deep breathing. We want to go a lot of good sleeping. We want movement. We want to go rough. We want to put some weight on while you go do a gentle walk. Go put a weighted vest and go do a gentle walk. Super amazing for women. We don't need to be doing high intensity all the time. Right. We can do little parts of it for cardiovascular, health, but we don't need to grind it out all the time. We're just putting way too much on our system. And it's actually going to be harder to lose weight. We're going to hold on to more fat. And we're going to continue to keep ourselves hormonally imbalanced. So weight training is phenomenal. We do want to lift some heavy things. Don't be afraid of having muscles, ladies. That's your metabolic organ. That's going to help. It's actually going to help you long term to have more energy and to have less fat and to age really well. So blood work. And then of course the biomarkers, if you're not ready to go get labs, just start looking at your wearable data. Look at your resting heart rate. Your resting heart rate is going to tell you so much if your body's perceiving stress or not. Look at your recovery rate. If you're not recovering, if your body battery isn't elevated, that tells you everything, because too often we're not recovering. Our HRV is tanking. And instead of going, I should probably do a little less today. Or like, I'm going to go freaking run like 10 miles. No, 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 no.
No, don't.
Let's see you take. You're not going to like be helping yourself. So
Yeah, it backfires.
it
You're speaking to the
backfired.
choir. You're speaking to the choir, Doctor. It's like, do you know my wearable data? Like, what's happening?
I do, girl. I got my eye on you. I know what's
You're like,
up.
well, and it's so, the Enneagram 3 achiever, like type A, it's like it's hard to kind of go against that. And you're just always like achieving and doing and going. And especially like in my 20s and 30s, like to my detriment. And then even now in my 40s, and I know better, and I do still push and I do the things when I shouldn't be. And I should probably be pushing the brake a little bit more.
Well, if I could have said even to my, and we hear these phrases, but we don't necessarily know what we understand it conceptually, but how to make it come alive. I think one of the biggest things as women, we are being invited into, again, it's not to drive through the masculine, and we are over, and it's not meaning that we can't achieve. Like we still get to show up, but I think that it's, and I'm only learning this in my 50s. Like, so not like in my 40s, I was like, what does that even mean? Like, absolutely not. Like, no, because this idea of like softening feels like, is that like, I'm not going to sit down. I'm not taking a back seat. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Like there's a world to go like show up for. Hello, impact.
The plates are going to drop.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. No, can't do it. So let's literally, seriously, to my ladies, especially, and to my men, we need to breathe. We really do. It does all get done. I promise you, even when you think it's not, even when you don't know how, it gets done. And I think one of the things I've learned, and it helps with stress and it helps with cortisol and it helps with my hormones. And it's allowed me, I'm 54, and again, a TMI probably, but I'm just kind of touching the beginning of like just entering to see like maybe menopause is going to happen, but it's not zero symptomatology.
Okay.
Because I practice what I preach. So most women, and back to your early question, like what's one of the biggest myths? Well, that you're going to have symptoms going through menopause. No, you don't have to.
Okay.
The more cortisol dysregulation and the longer that goes on and the longer you don't take care of yourself, that can absolutely lead to greater and greater symptomatology because it's creating more and more hormonal imbalance leading into that. But the more I have learned to, when I say surrender or to trust or give it to source, give it to God, like going, okay, control is, it really is a construct. It is a fallacy. And we can participate. We can participate and show up with full intention in all of our passion and gifts. And we should. Let us not stop doing it. But to think that we are the one in control of all of the details and that if a plate drops, it all comes crashing down. That's the lie. Like it's not real. It's actually not real.
No, it's so true, right? We're not super women, as much as like we really actually are, but we're really not.
But when we give ourselves a little grace and just say, you know what? It is all going to get done exactly as it's supposed to. And I don't have to do it all. I'm actually allowed to, let's think about this. Women, every lady out there, as a female, the feminine is designed to receive. The feminine is designed to receive. That means receive support, receive help, receive assistance. It doesn't mean you're failing if you can't do it all on your own.
Right.
You're not supposed to.
You're not supposed to.
The longer we take on that fallacy and we do keep all the plates spinning and we don't, we not only do we not allow, but we don't even invite it in. So the longer that we don't allow that support in, the longer that we push away. No, I got this because we think it's like part of our superpower and we're supposed to, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
Like, yay, see, I can do it all. Aren't you so impressed with me? And aren't I even more like appealing and valuable? Like, no, like you're burnt out, you're stressed out. I get no time with you. Like, I don't want that person with you. And so when we realize like, okay, I'm allowed to receive support. It is safe to be supported. It is safe to, and it's not a give to get. Like, it doesn't mean if I receive, now I have to go do 20 more things, like for the one thing. No, like I can receive for the sake of receiving. And I can allow the support to come in and I can trust that it is all going to get done. And I'm going to show up fully in my gifts and my capacity and stay in my zone of genius where I can do my greatest good. The things over here and the things over here that I can do, but they're not my absolute zone of genius or my absolute power or presence. Like just because I can't and I should.
Yeah.
Those are things that we just kind of go, well, I don't know. They need to get done. I don't know what to do with it, but let me just start saying yes to support for that. I don't know where it's going to come from, but I don't want to keep doing this. I want to, I'm committed. So
that's good.
We get to soften, we get to allow, we get to receive. And it all starts just like what happened in my car with my son and that memory. You just need one little moment of okay, I love the idea of this, but I don't know how to bring it to life.
Right.
And so maybe can I receive my partner opening the door for me? Can I allow somebody else to pick up the check? Can I allow somebody else to pick up the kids from soccer? Or like, can I allow another mom to help? Or not even another mom? Can we allow the dads? Can I expect my spouse to do the thing? And instead of trying to manage it with them, can I just say, whatever you think, honey? Like you handle that one. Like I trust you. Even if you don't trust them.
Yeah. Just actually let go and don't micromanage the whole process. That's not going to do anybody any favors.
It doesn't. And so we start there, we give a little grace, and now we look at some measurements, and now we can start deciding what peptides we want to do.
Okay. That's so good. Like that. You're speaking, like I said, you're speaking to the choir. Like that is so, because we try to do it all, but we're not going to do it all well. So accepting, like soften a little bit, let go of control because it is deceptive. I love that. Oh, but yeah, it's hard. It's hard. But like you said, like just the little bit that we can do like at one at a time, and it'll get easier and easier, and just kind of look for those like windows and glimmers. And then from there, then you can add on some peptides. So
and you know what? And I know everybody's like, please just talk peptides and be quiet, Melissa, about all this other stuff. But I just have to say this. I have to say this one thing because again, like I can hear myself say it, and I was you 9 years ago, right? Or whatever. Like I was you and everybody else, all of your audience. So I get it. And it's one thing to think it, but how does it come to life? And so right now I'm actually doing a course in miracles. And one simple thing that it's like we all like, what are the little tools that we can do that actually help to shift our state, right? And so even we talk about control, and it's like, yeah, it really is an illusion, but sometimes it's just being willing to go, well, I'm still controlling, and I don't know how to stop, and I don't know how to let go, and I don't know how to trust that my partner's going to care. Okay. So step one is just saying, I see the illusion of control. I see the illusion, right? Like I just like, please forgive myself for believing in this illusion of this, of that I have to do it all, of that it's a give to get, of that there's always a cost, of that it can never get done any other way, of that. So sometimes we just have to be willing to just, again, awareness is step one. Yeah. And it doesn't mean we have to do anything with it. Like it can be really powerful simply to say, I'm seeing, I am participating, I'm doing it, but what if this were just an illusion? And what if there was another way? And what if I could soften today? Okay, so I will stop with all of that and like, let's talk about
I love that, Melissa, Dr. Melissa, because that is just, it is so powerful. Like you were initially talked about at the very beginning, just the piece of real estate in between. And it's just, we dismiss it too much. I think just the power of everything that you talked about, just the little glimpse and of change that it can be different. So thank you for that hope, because we need it. I appreciate it. Yeah. So then to get to that practical side of it. So there is a woman who's, tired, bloated, confused by all the supplements out there. Where does she start? So she's got her blood work now. She's like trying her best. What does she do?
Yeah. I think some of the safest place to begin, and that we see most women really benefit from, especially with peptides. One of the first places that we want to start is within our mitochondria. So our little beautiful cells making all that energy, assuming that we've got right foundational nutritional support, and we're still having the fatigue, still having the things. So when we know we have metabolic, so think of MOTS-C is metabolic. There's other mitochondrial peptides, but if you're not having a metabolic issue, then other mitochondrial peptides. And we're not going to get it confused today. So today for women, MOTS-C is a really great place, especially if you're having fatigue. Now, if you are already optimized and you want to go a little further, you don't start with MOTS-C. Okay. But I'm assuming that you're fatigued, we're having some imbalances, like, we are maybe anywhere from 10 to 15, even 35, 50 pounds overweight. Like, we are not kind of in our fighting weight, right? And so we're dealing with this stuff, and we want the energy to have better workouts, more vitality. So MOTS-C is going to help your mitochondria. And it's a great thing to kind of prime the system with, so that we can get the little powerhouses properly making those little energy packets. So that's going to be one to be looking at.
Okay.
The next one, and Ben and I actually talked about this a lot on our interview, which is, so when we look at the category of GLPs, and that's all that's the Ozempic and the Wegovy, Sema, tirzepatide, and now retatrutide, they each have a different kind of seat at the table. And I think it depends on economics. It depends on access. So if you are type 2 diabetic and you're severely overweight and you've got insurance and you don't have a lot of expendable income, then you can go to your doctor. You will get a prescription. You'd be able to qualify for a prescription for Ozempic. The only downside to that, that semaglutide is a GLP-1. It's got a lot of side effects. They typically they're going to dose you too high. Will you lose weight? Yes. You will feel like crap doing it. And again, the dosing's too high, burns out the receptors. You got to stay on it trying to come off of it and do a maintenance. It's a little more challenging. And if you're going to do it, you have to be so committed to your protein, and or you want to supplement with amino acids, with essential amino acids, to make sure that you're not breaking down your muscle, because you absolutely will. Okay. The next one, tirzepatide. So we do a lot with tirzepatide and we do a lot with retatrutide. Now, the thing with tirzepatide, it's really hard to get because Eli Lilly has locked it down. And you can still get some stuff from research out there, but it's a little squirrely. I love tirzepatide. I love retatrutide. I think it depends on the woman. So if for somebody that's out there dealing with a lot of food noise, they've got addiction. They're a food addict. And even they're a smoker, they're a drinker. They can't, like, the biggest part of the problem is, I got to have not even 2 glasses of wine. I got to have 3 or 4 glasses of wine. And I'm afraid to put it down. And I don't because for women and for men, everybody's, there's still a lot of that. And so what tirzepatide does, I think better than anything, is it really does blunt that food noise.
Amazing.
It's working in the reward centers in the brain that really helps with any type of addiction. And there's some phenomenal studies out there, that really show what's happening with people over time on this and how it's changing their behaviors. And it doesn't mean that all of a sudden they're like, oh, I'm numb. It's not a numbing thing at all.
Yeah.
There's still desire. It's just, it's not obsession anymore.
Right. Okay.
Anybody who has dealt with that addictive noise in their brain for whatever the thing is understands what I'm saying, because they'll do things, they've taken the products, they work out really hard, and they're just like, still, I can't stop this. Okay. So tirzepatide is the best. And the same thing, like all of these, especially if you're going to get it, depending on how you're accessing it. So tirzepatide is Mounjaro if we're looking at kind of the prescription name. And again, same thing, they're still dosing too high. So for women especially, although the term has been kind of labeled microdose, and now there's a lot of heat in the market, it's just, what's the lowest dose that we can start you at that's going to create the greatest result? Change. That's it. Okay. Don't give anybody all flustered
without the side effects and things like that, but still change can happen. Okay.
Exactly. So we do know that, there's standard dosing where all the research has been done, where we start to see the weight loss. But the thing about these GLPs, for women especially, is they can help us metabolically in a lot of ways beyond weight loss alone. So they really can help us. They're massively anti-inflammatory. So we can help to bring down the inflammatory cascade that's going to, again, create swelling, fatigue, lend to autoimmune flares, lend to, just immune dysfunction, dysregulation. Like, there's a lot of things that happen when we're chronically stressed. Lots of cortisol keeps us in a pro-inflammatory state. Yeah. And so when we come in at a lower dose, and a microdose clinically means at least a quarter of the standard dose. So what happens with a lot of practitioners is we're looking at, can I get as low as a tenth? So anywhere between a tenth to a quarter, when we start to hear that term, and we're just saying, again, smallest effective dose to get to. So if I'm going to stack MOTS-C, like with tirzepatide, I can go, or retatrutide, I can go with that lower dose, and I can bring in mitochondrial support. I can layer in. So this is what we call stacking. I can stack these two together to not put extra work on my body and try to force a response and flood my receptors. I can work intelligently with my body, get the engines going, get my metabolism functioning optimally again.
Yeah.
And so we kind of go low and slow. So anybody looking at GLPs, really, in all truth, like the first 6 to 8 weeks clinically, even at higher doses, because even at higher doses, people are getting too sick and they got to back down. So we're titrating, and we're looking at, okay, do I just need to do this once a week? Typically microdosing, we're typically doing it twice a week from a metabolic standpoint. Like if we do want to create weight loss, if we just want hormonal support, anti-inflammatory support, we can do a microdose once a week. And we can stacked with MOTS-C. But the last piece, and then retatrutide, the thing that we like about Reta, I haven't found personally with our client base, and even myself using it, it doesn't work as well with food noise. It's still there because now it's a triple agonist. But the magic about retatrutide, and Ben's like a huge fan. I am too. I do love it. It's very metabolically protective to our muscle. So it's actually helping to so a lot of these, a GLP-1, GLP-2, depending on how we're using them, we're not hungry, we're not eating as much, and we really do start to slow our metabolic rate. That's not a good thing. That's kind of the old dieter, rebound effect. When we get to Reta, the way it is working, it is helping with metabolic efficiency. And so I do really, I love it for overall. It's going to support muscle. It's not going to slow down my metabolic rate. It's going to maintain a metabolic rate. So it is a safer profile for, again, kind of longer use even.
Yeah.
However, if you are somebody that you are dealing with massive food addiction, you cannot. So one of the things that we'll do is we would microdose. We can stack Reta with tirzepatide, like do a microdose on a Monday of Reta and do a microdose on Thursday of tirzepatide.
Interesting.
Right?
Okay.
And there's one other molecule called cagrilintide that really helps with food noise and like appetite suppression. So we start to, this is where working with a prescriber or a practitioner or even, a certified vetted coach with this stuff does make the difference, because we can get really personalized and precise.
Yes.
And it's not just one thing and gun it into your system. It's beautiful because we can nuance these and we can get really, really amazing results.
Yeah, I would say you have to go with a coach and somebody who's knowledgeable about these things, because you could be doing, maybe not more harm than good. Possibly depending on like what you're specifically doing, but you're not going to get your really personalized approach that you need for your specific body and your needs. And, it fluctuates all the time as a woman. So you got to have a coach.
100%. Absolutely. With the cycle. And with the cycle, and this is the last one I'll offer up right now. I don't know where we're at with time, so I want to be respectful just to you and what you've got planned for us. But I really do love, especially if we know that we've got hormonal imbalance, we're having any type of irregularity with our cycles. Kisspeptin does become a really good, even if we're having infertility issues. Kisspeptin is a phenomenal peptide that is going to work in regards of helping to increase the production of LH and FSH, which is what's going to signal the ovaries to make proper amounts of estrogen. So before we start to take hormone replacement, especially if we haven't gone through menopause, right? We're earlier on, we're in we're fertility issues, PCOS, things of that nature. And we know, we're always going to start upstream. We want to stabilize blood sugar. We really, really do. We want to make sure we've got right energy in the tank. We don't want to go with extended fast. This is where we want to get those 3 meals a day, ideally. Like, we've got to stabilize blood sugar. We want good protein, healthy fats, a certain amount of carbs, but not carb heavy, right? So good principles there for hormonal issues for women. We've got to get good sleep. We must work on your circadian rhythms. Like, that's one of the best ways. And again, Ben and I talked a little bit about that in that interview. But when we do that first, that's already going to help with cortisol a bit. Okay. It's going to help with glucose a bit, because the upstream of what's going on with cortisol, glucose, insulin does have a downstream effect in our sex hormones. So again, as women, the more stressed out we are. Why do we have so much irregularity in our cycles? If you're dealing with a lot of stress, it's because you think of it this way. If I literally have to run from a saber-toothed tiger or make a baby, the body's like, I got to keep you safe. We got to get out of here. So stress is stress is stress.
Yeah. The body doesn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't know any different.
That's right. Exactly.
So it's like, we're not going to make a baby right now.
No, not at all. And so the upstream stuff does come in, that we would look at things like DHEA, pregnenolone. We want to make sure we're stabilizing blood sugar. We want to make sure that we're, really getting the adrenals and the thyroid balanced really nicely. So assuming all that stuff's happening, and we really want to still help to optimize those hormones, then kisspeptin is that peptide that, before we have to do anything else, can really reset a lot of those pathways just so beautifully. And it's even appropriate in kids. So if we're having any kind of delay, it's really beautiful. It's so phenomenal with what it can do with any kind of delayed puberty, and in both girls and boys. So it's pretty phenomenal.
Wow. Okay. So, I mean, there really is a peptide for everybody, right? Pretty much. Yes. For whatever your needs and ailments and everything included. But for women specifically, I think that there's a lot of things that we can do to get some help and assistance. And I think that's surrendering to the fact that we can control like our diet and exercise and all these things, but sometimes we do hit a wall, especially in, like our 40s and 50s. And so getting some help from people like you. So then what does somebody do to work with you guys? So what happens?
Thank you for asking. Well, it's beautiful. So at Peptide University, I mean, we do focus on training clinicians, so training the practitioners to be able to work with their clients and patients in the field. We've got one of the things that Ben and I had spoken about. So one of the companies I'm on the board for, their Peptides, they actually have a telehealth platform where they do complimentary consults with a clinician. I know, it's pretty phenomenal. So if anybody listens to this, we'll have to make sure to have a link to them, because
we will.
I had some out saying, I want to have a consult with you. And I'm like, that'd be really great. You need to talk to them.
Yeah.
We do have, so I think the easy thing is that, you can come to mypeptideuniversity.com, get on our mailing list. You can visit me over at Human Longevity Institute. I've got front-facing programs over there for people that want to work with us, but we have a whole slew of doctors. And so one of the things that we're starting to do, it's not up yet, but we are building out a directory of practitioners, providers, so that you'll easily be able to find a really great vetted. So I don't know the time airs. It is something that's being developed right now. So before this year's out, it'll be fully functioning. But reach out to us. I mean, we're happy to connect you. We do a lot of free education. Even if you're not a clinician, you can still sit in on our master classes.
For sure.
And we do have larger group container programs that'll be coming out again later this year, because we have, and a lot of our faculty have programs also. So just visit us at My Peptide University, and we'll help to connect you any way that we can to the right resources.
And we'll make sure to kind of, spread the word, with Ben Greenfield and Life Network, just, when everything is officially launched with that too. But that is like the first and foremost thing, is like educating ourselves so we can know like what we're putting into our bodies, who we're working with first and foremost, because there's a lot of people out there who are, maybe not as informed as people who are working with you, that you're training. And so we need to make sure that whoever we decide to go with as a doctor, I love that you're doing that. Like, you have people who are vetted and, have gone through the training. You're like, okay, yes, this person isn't just going to give you like, all semaglutide to just like be on your way and good luck. And because there are places that do that, unfortunately. So yeah, so don't do that, and make sure that we'll make sure to, as soon as Dr. Melissa's whole, program is out, we'll link that. And then remind me the name of the peptide one with the free telehealth again.
Oh yeah. So that's Peptual.
Peptual. That's right.
Yeah. Peptual.
Yes. That's incredible just to have that alone, because then they are obviously trained to help you. And that is kind of the big missing piece of it.
Peptide University. Yeah. So their clinicians are coming through trainings with us at my Peptide University. And so again, it's like just this, we are here really to educate and to be that voice, and we have so many of the top just doctors and leaders in the field that are part of our adjunct faculty. And it's just like this beautiful ecosystem of making sure that these molecules are here to stay because they are naturally occurring inside of our body.
They are,
we just want to know how to be able to access them, utilize them safely, effectively, because even if they're natural, even good can become bad, right? In an overloaded system, even drinking too much water can be not a good thing in the body. So we want to be able to use discernment, intelligence, and when in doubt, just listen to your body. I'd rather, if somebody's dipping their toe into this space, I'm like, I know enough. I did something on Reddit, and I'm watching all these TikToks, or I got this influence. Low and slow. And the last thing, Karie, I'll say is that most peptides have a relatively short half-life, meaning they're only going to be active in the body anywhere from minutes to hours. There's only a few that can be active up to over a week. Okay, so with that in mind, if you were to take something and you were to have an adverse response to it, stop using it immediately. It doesn't mean that you are in crazy danger. It just means, okay, wait, too much, and you might have come in at too heavy a dose, too high, too fast with whatever's going on in your system. So just like anything, like low and slow, titrate up, less is more to see how your body's going to respond. And if you do have a response, stop immediately. Typically within a 3-day cycle, within 3 days, you will be completely 100%. You can kind of slowly start again. Okay.
Amazing advice. Super, super helpful, because there is, you can go on YouTube and there's stuff on there. You could just learn how to do it, but okay, let's not do that, and make sure that we, head to the people that you have specifically, trained and vetted. And, that's, like you said, it is here to stay. And just the knowledge that you put out there, you're training the trainers just so we can take advantage of these amazing things that will really help us to live our life in a more beautiful way, and not just accept certain things that as we hear that we might possibly have or not be able to have, all these things. So I love that. Thank you for bringing that, just so practical and just super helpful for the everyday mama that's listening. And I know I needed that too, just to get kind of the backstory. And I know we could, go for a whole nother hour and talk about all the other peptides. We really just scratched the surface, but just for, kind of the everyday mom listening in, I think this is, a great thing for them just to kind of have okay, now I know what to do.
I'm glad. I just, it begins within. So, as we started at the beginning, kind of it's about living better today for longer tomorrows. We don't have to keep putting more and more on and getting so far out in front of it. The more we can truly come into the moment and be in gratitude for the moment, breathe with the moment, be present with the moment. This is the moment that if we can bring more aliveness to today, then every tomorrow, it builds on itself. And that is a beautiful life, right? To be able to look back and go, I wasn't so anxious and worried about what's going to happen in a month from now. What happens if this project does or doesn't? It's I was so there and so present in this day. And at the end of the day, my heart was full. I laid my head on the pillow with just okay, aliveness. This is what it means to be human, and what a gift. And so let's get up and do it again tomorrow. That's the opportunity.
So good. Aliveness. That you just put the bow right on the whole entire thing, and I love you brought in presence too, because you started with gratitude and breath. And then the third key is presence. So I'm so glad that you brought that in, because we do as women too, we get worried and anxious about what's to come, but then sometimes also looking back and about mistakes too, just being present in the moment. And that's how we will live beautifully longer. Just how we're supposed to. So I love that. Thank you. You're incredible.
Thank you, Lydia. So are you. Yes.
Oh, well, is there any last thing that you want to make sure that our listeners tune in on that we might have forgotten to say?
I just be kind to yourself, love yourself, know that you really are doing a great job. And, I'll make sure we've got links for you guys. So my own personal site is docmelissa.com. If you just want to ever know about anything, Doc Melissa. My Peptide University is where we do all of our peptide education, all of our trainings and certifications. At Human Longevity Institute is where we do all of our longevity health practitioner certification. So all things health span. We have a global model coming out that we're working with some major governments and agencies of just saying, how do we actually design for health? Not just try to wing it and feel like we're not getting it right as the consumer. It's not just our individual responsibility. It goes across every sector, and we can actually design for health. And so, we all those are all the places. So come find me wherever and tune in. And I just pray that there was value and
there was. Yeah, for sure. I mean, just keep doing what you're doing, because you're incredible. And just the people, the moms tuning in, but then also there's going to be other practitioners and stuff like that too, that will be tuning in, and they want to help their clients, but they don't necessarily want to steer them in the wrong direction. So we'll make sure to link all of that too. So you're incredible, Dr. Melissa. Thank you so much for coming on the Life Lounge podcast. We'll make sure to link everything below so people can connect with Dr. Melissa and everything that she is doing. And to our listeners, don't forget to share this with a friend who needs to hear it. This is how we grow together. See you next time in the Life Lounge.